everyone, welcome to my channel. Nicole here from my Pandora Charm Life. Today's video, we're going to take a close-up look at charms that are older and newer and are of the same theme. So for example, we'll get a close-up look at the original unicorn and we'll compare it to Bruno the unicorn, so we could take a look at how has Pandora evolved and what are the difference in styles that we're seeing from older Pandora to newer Pandora, and also kind of Disney spins on some of these charms as well. Some of the things that I've noticed that are pretty different are how they're doing the detailing. So in older charms, Pandora really relied on getting their detail from oxidized silver, while some of the newer ones might rely on enamel or some CZ sparkle. I've also noticed that older charms are a little bit smaller, and we see that they're getting a little bit bigger and chunkier in the newer charms. So let's take a look at 15 different styles of Pandora. The first charms we're going to look at are going to be house charms. So this first one is actually one of the first charms Pandora ever made, and it is just a simple house. The detail on it is a little chimney on the top, and then you have a window on each side. The next charm we're going to look at is the Home Sweet Home charm. This is one of the newer house charms. We actually have a newer one, it's a dangle, but this one is the one that I have, and it is bigger in size. It has detail around the side, on the rooftop. You have some little plants on the side, little rooster. But again, this one is a little bit bigger. You'll see that here at this close-up picture, how much bigger the newer charm is. The next set of charms we'll be looking at are the ladybugs. The first ladybug is really simple. Again, it's one of Pandora's first charms, but really just plain with silver and little oxidized detail. And then as we get into the next charm, you're going to see where Pandora really starts to add some CZ sparkle. So you have red and black CZ and a little bit of silver, and the eyes actually stick out. And this one you can see the cute little legs, which actually makes me really happy. And again, if you take a look at these two charms, you can really see the difference in size. That original Pandora was a little bit smaller, and we're starting to get bigger. As much as I love the newer charm with all of the added detail, I do find it difficult to style with the added CZ. The next set of charms, we have the dice charms, and this first one is another one of Pandora's original. It's a little bit smaller than the newer one and just has some oxidized detailing to show the numbers. And the next one, which is like my pride and joy charm, is the gold charm. These are not CZs, these are actually real diamonds. And then the most recent dice charm is a little bit bigger. These are CZs, and it is bigger than both the silver and the gold one, as you can see in these close-ups. All three of these charms came from Las Vegas. I'm not sure of their availability. I do believe they're retired, but maybe you're able to get it at casinos. Next up are the adorable pumpkin charms. This first one is the jack-o'-lantern, and he just has some little triangle details for his eyes and nose and a little crooked smile. He's pretty cute and pretty small. This next one was just released for this autumn, and he is really cute with the added little stem on top. And then I love that they use hearts for his eyes, and he's got a tiny little nose. The smile is stitching. I wish that was a little bit different, but not going to complain, so I'm happy we have a new one. But here's another example of where you can see how much bigger the newer charms are compared to the older ones. Because of the size difference, I didn't think I was going to be styling them on the same bracelet, but it's actually worked out perfectly. The next three charms are variations of teacups, and taking a look at this first original teacup, he's really simple, just sitting on a little saucer with some tiny detail around it, and then you have some detail around the top of the cup, and he's just really plain silver. The next one is a Disney Parks spin on the teacup, and this is representing Alice in the Teacup, and it's very similar in its shape, just kind of a little teacup on a saucer, but it has some added detail with the decorations around the teacup, and then of course Alice popping out of it. And here we get to take a look at the teacup actually as a dangle. So this is the one that came out in 2018, and I really appreciate what they did with this dangle. First of all, you have some beautiful pink enamel representing the tea. You have that adorable little bird sitting on the top of the cup, just kind of perched over. You have an adorable little spoon to stir with. The detailing on this teacup is really just impeccable. Couldn't really ask them to do anything different. And here you just get a close-up of all those 3 teacups together. We couldn't do an old and new Pandora comparison without taking a look at the unicorns. The original unicorn is just such a classic. It is a 2-tone, so you can see the horn is made out of 14 karat gold, and the body of this unicorn is just so muscular. It really is, it has the body of a horse. And compared to our adorable, fun-loving Bruno the unicorn, this one is just so chunky and so happy. He's more playful and more cartoon-like than the original unicorn. And I think it's really nice that they changed it up. It's so good to have options. I think if you want to use the original for a more classic bracelet, you can do that. And if you want a more playful look, you can always go to Bruno. Pandora has done quite a few letter variations, but we're just going to look at 2 today. This one is more triangular and it's really plain with just some oxidized detail in the back to help the letter pop. While this charm has a more vintage cursive look, and then if you look closely, like within the letter P, you can see that there's some added CZ detail. They also have some dangle letters. There's a ton of options, so you really can't run out of ways to use letters with Pandora. Now for our angels, we'll be looking at these ones in 14 karat gold, and the first one is the older version, and this is more of a chunky charm. This is threaded, and so there's just a lot of gold to it. While the other one is more elegant, and this is done in an open works. So you do get less gold and a little bit less detailing along the solid part. Both of these are beautiful and stunning, and I actually style them together on the same bracelet. Spoiler alert, you do see the black camera here. It's in preparation for my next giveaway. But going back to the cameras, as we take a look at the first camera, this one is just plain silver and the detail is just oxidized detail. Really cute, and still a lot of detail with a viewfinder and the little gadgets on top. And then the black one just really takes it to the next level. You have a little bit more detail on the top, and you still have a viewfinder. You have a battery pack on the bottom, but you also get this nice black enamel on the front along with a CZ little lens, which I think is just fun added detail, but both of these are very similar. The next 2 charms I do want to look at side by side. There is so much difference between these 2 charms. So they are both princess charms, and they both have pretty significant differences to them. So one, you can see that one has a crown all around while the other just has the top. And if we look at the one to the left, which is the original, she also has hair. And the one to the right does not have hair, but she does have long, beautiful eyelashes. So these are just I feel like the first one is younger and the next one should have been more like queen. I feel like it's a little bit older, but either way, I still love both of these princess charms. And while we're on the topic of royalty, let's take a look at the carriage charms. The first one is such a beautiful charm. It is pretty solid in silver. It has a 14 karat gold little crown on top with a pearl on the inside. And you can also see, her because it's highlighted with some oxidized detail. You can see that a princess is sitting in the middle of it. I love this charm because it does remind me of a pumpkin, even though it's not the one that represents Disney. And I also love how you can see that there's a little heart that maybe is the door handle. I'm going to pretend it's the door handle whether it is or not. And then we have the actual Cinderella carriage that is from Disney, and this one is an open works. It's got a lot more CZ detail. It still has the little 14 karat gold crown on top, but they have heart details all around this charm. They are both beautiful charms, and I'm happy that I have both of them. And with princesses and carriages, you also need a castle. So if we take a look at the first castle, it's the Happily Ever After charm that Pandora came out with. It has really fun detail, and then on the bottom you have a little 14 karat gold crown. And then my favorite castles that Pandora has done are the castles that represent Disney parks. This one is from Disneyland, and it is just so fun to have a dangle castle. And of course, the fact that it says Disneyland on the bottom is a little added benefit. These next ones, I don't think it's fair to call it an apples to apples comparison. They are some teapots and a coffee pot. And starting with the Arabian coffee pot, the detail on here is just so stunning. It is, I don't know if you want to call it filigree, but I just love the way this charm looks. And then the Disney version of a teapot is of course Mrs. Potts, and she's got some enamel. She's a little bit of a chunkier charm with a chunky spout, and of course a little chip hanging next to her. And then we have the newest teapot, and this one, just like the newest teacup dangle, has so much detail around it as well. There is a little bit of enamel and CZ at the very top, and then this also has the bird perched next to it. I wish I had the original teapot that was two-toned. That way we could see what does that look like in size comparison to these newer ones. Next, we're going to compare the little girl charms. The first one that they have was a dangle, and this is a little girl in a little dress, and she has little pigtails. She's got a little bit of polka dots on the bottom of her dress that go all the way around. And she is so cute, and if you want a dangle option, there's that one, although she is retired. For a non-dangle option, you have this little girl who still has pigtails. You can't quite tell if she's wearing a dress, but they are polka dots, and this one is a little bit more of like a chunkier, stumpier charm. I love both of these charms, and I just think they're both precious ways to kind of celebrate your little girl. And last but not least, we're going to take a look at Christmas trees. I actually think there's at least one other Christmas tree that I don't have, but starting with this first one, it is a two-tone Christmas tree. It's probably my favorite, with a little gold star, and on the bottom you could see like the little tree stand. And moving into the next one that I have, it is CZ Sparkles and no two-tone. But I think it actually looks like the same mold, or whatever you want to call it, as that last Christmas tree that we saw. This Christmas tree is a little bit different. It does have the gold star back on top, but then you can see just like the branches of the tree is a little bit different. And it also has some different colored CZs to represent whether it's lights or ornaments. I'm not sure, but I do have these three. And again, I do believe there's one more. Alright, so there you have it. There's some close-up looks of some of the charms that I had that were pretty similar in what they were representing. So I want to hear from you. What do you see as some of the major differences in the designs from older Pandora to newer Pandora? Do you have a preference one way or another? I personally like the direction they're going because it gives me an opportunity to mix up some of my styles. But if I have one little thing I would change, I would make the newer charms a little bit smaller. They are a little bit too big for my liking, but it's still Pandora and I still love them. So leave me a comment, give me a thumbs up if you like this video, and if you're not already subscribed, please subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching.
Wish I thumbs up.
What?
I said wish I thumbs up.
Wish a thumbs up. Give a thumbs up.
Ow.
Silly.
Give a thumbs up.
Give a thumbs up.
Give a thumbs up.
You wanna come?
You are so good. Have a thumbs up and subscribe to your video.
Did you say give a thumbs up and subscribe to our video?
Yeah.
She said it. Tell them thank you so much for watching.
Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.
What else do you want to say?
I want to say goodbye and welcoming to our show. Goodbye and welcoming to me and my mom's show today. I know that. We're doing a show.
We're doing a show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope you'll be